Every year, millions of Americans book a stranger's home for a weekend. They trust a 5-star rating, a few beautiful photos, and a smiling profile picture. But in quiet towns across the country, a disturbing number of guests have discovered something the host never wanted them to find. Proof that they were never alone. This is one of those stories. The names have been changed. The horror has not. Sarah Whitfield had been planning this trip for months. A long weekend in a quiet mountain town in North Carolina. Just her and her husband Mark celebrating 5 years of marriage. The listing looked perfect. A cozy 2-bedroom cabin, exposed wooden beam, a warm fireplace, and dozens of glowing reviews calling it peaceful and completely private. The host, a man who called himself Dale, replied to every message within minutes, almost too quickly. The cabin sat at the end of a long gravel driveway surrounded by towering pine trees that completely blocked the view of neighboring homes. There was no lockbox, no keypad. Dale insisted on meeting them in person, to hand over the keys himself. He seemed friendly, almost too friendly. As he left, he lingered in the living room for just a little too long, quietly scanning the room, as if making sure everything was exactly where he had left it. The second night changed everything. Mark couldn't sleep. Restless, he walked into the hallway for a glass of water, when something caught his attention. The smoke detector. A tiny red light was blinking, slowly, steadily. Not like a low battery warning. This looked intentional. Curious, he climbed onto a chair and looked closer. The moment he peered inside the plastic casing, his stomach dropped. Hidden behind the vent was a tiny black camera lens, no larger than the tip of a pencil, staring directly back at him. Mark rushed to wake Sarah. Together, their hearts racing, they searched every room in the cabin. Using only their phone flashlights, they checked shelves, picture frames, outlets, and decorative objects. Then they found another camera. This one was disguised as a simple phone charger plugged into the bedroom wall. Minutes later, a third, hidden inside an old clock hanging above the fireplace. The cabin, they believed, was completely private, had been watching them the entire time. Later, investigators would explain that this wasn't unusual. Hidden cameras disguised as everyday household items have appeared in multiple criminal investigations across the United States. Phone chargers, alarm clocks, smoke detectors, even fake screws hidden inside air vents. Many of these devices are sold online as nanny cams, but in the wrong hands, they become tools for spying on unsuspecting guests. Sarah wanted to leave immediately. Mark agreed, but something told him not to confront Dale. Not yet. Instead, they quietly photographed every hidden device, carefully placed each one back exactly where they found it, packed their bags without making a sound, and slipped away into the night. They didn't want Dale to know. That they knew. The drive back felt endless. Their headlights cut through thick mountain fog as they constantly checked the rearview mirror, wondering if someone was following them. Neither of them spoke. When they finally reached an area with cell service, Sarah's hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold her phone. She called the police immediately. Detectives seized the hidden cameras and traced the recordings to a private storage server. What they discovered shocked everyone involved. Hundreds of hours of secretly recorded footage, collected over several years. Families, couples, solo travelers, all unknowingly recorded inside that same cabin. The man known as Dale wasn't even using his real identity. Investigators uncovered a history of complaints connected to multiple rental listings. Each complaint quietly disappeared. The listings vanished, only to return weeks later under a different name, a different profile picture, and, sometimes, even a different town. Once news of the investigation became public, former guests began contacting authorities. A young couple, a single mother traveling with her teenage daughter. Several others described the exact same unsettling feeling. The feeling that someone had been watching them. They had dismissed it as paranoia. Now, they realized it wasn't. The investigation became even darker. Cybersecurity experts discovered the recordings weren't simply being stored. They were being shared, uploaded in fragments to private online communities where hidden camera footage was secretly traded among strangers. The mountain cabin had never been just another vacation rental. It had been bait. Federal investigators spent nearly 8 months building the case. When they finally made the arrest, it wasn't at the cabin. It happened 3 states away, at an ordinary suburban house. The man calling himself Dale had been living under yet another false identity, while secretly operating 4 additional rental properties using the exact same method. Inside the home, investigators recovered hard drives containing years of hidden camera footage collected from rental properties across 5 different states. Even experienced detectives were stunned by the scale of the operation. What appeared to be charming vacation rentals turned out to be one carefully planned surveillance network. One man, one obsession, hundreds of unsuspecting victims. He was eventually charged with multiple crimes related to illegal surveillance, unlawful recording, and distributing private footage across state lines. But for Sarah and Mark, and for every victim whose most private moments had been stolen, no conviction could erase what had already happened. Once something is uploaded online, it can never truly disappear. Today, Sarah and Mark inspect every smoke detector, every clock, every phone charger, and every unusual object whenever they stay in a rental property. What began as a relaxing anniversary vacation became a lifelong habit of fear, because sometimes the scariest places aren't abandoned houses or haunted forests. They're the places that look perfectly normal. So before you book your next vacation, take just 30 seconds. Check the smoke detectors, check the clocks, check the chargers. That simple habit could make the difference between enjoying a peaceful getaway and becoming someone else's unknowing audience. If this story kept you up at night, subscribe for more true-style horror stories every week.